Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm in Corpach to photograph the famous Corpach shipwreck, but I'm doing it in an unusual way. I'm using the Bokeh Panorama technique. Now, newsletter subscribers will already know why I'm doing this, but for everyone else, I've recently started a new project which will be exhibited in early 2026, and the intention is to shoot most if not all of the images using this method. So I wanted to get some practice in using the technique before I started work on the actual collection. So I've come to this iconic location to try out some ideas, experiment a little, and try to find out what works and most importantly what doesn't. So join me now as I try out a few compositions using the Bokeh Panorama technique. So, what exactly is a Bokeh Panorama? It's basically a method where we create what looks like a wide-angle view, but with an impossibly shallow depth of field. And to achieve this, we shoot with a moderate telephoto lens. In this video, I'll be using an 85mm, and as wide an aperture as is possible. And today I'll be using an f1.4. Then, by taking a series of images around the subject, typically we're looking for around 15 to 20, and then stitching them together in post-processing, we create what looks like a wide-angle view. Before beginning, there are a few things that you must bear in mind for this to work, and these are: use as wide an aperture as you can to minimise the depth of field, shoot in RAW, keep the camera level to avoid distortion, start with the main subject and work out from there, avoid moving objects, use a moderate telephoto lens, always shoot in manual exposure settings, and never refocus during the shoot. So, now we know what a Bokeh Panorama is and how to shoot one, let's see if we can find any interesting compositions. So, I thought I'd come to see if there were any shots looking in the opposite direction. Most people shoot this wreck facing towards Ben Nevis, which is behind me. But I'm looking to see if there's a shot looking in this direction. As you can see, we've got a reasonably high tide, so there's a nice reflection, and I'm going to try and work with that.
So basically what I've done is I've focused on this end, the end of the ship closest to me, and as I say, I've got a very narrow depth of field, so the end of the ship is already out of focus. But as you can imagine, the more distant Ben Nevis, etc., are all very blurred, and you've got a very soft focus bokeh effect. So I've focused there, and then I've fired off probably about 20 shots all around on the same level, down the way and up the way. And the idea is to produce a square of images. What I'm doing is I'm actually using my old 5D Mark III, because it's just a 20 megapixel sensor, so the smaller sensor size is going to help when it comes to stitching all these images together. Obviously the larger the sensor, the bigger the file, and so the more the computer's going to have to work to try and stitch them all together. But I'm using this 20.3 megapixel camera so that I can make the files a wee bit more manageable. And then, as I say, I'm going to let Photoshop or Lightroom do its work, stitch them all together into a panorama, and then I'm probably going to square crop it, and then we'll begin the post-processing. But that's the general idea, and I'm looking for the ship, especially this end, but ideally most of the ship, to be in focus, while everything in the foreground is blurry and bokeh, and everything in the distant background is blurry with a bokeh effect as well. And the point of this is to emphasise the boat, really draw the attention to the boat, and I want to make it feel isolated from the environment. And if you get the newsletter, you'll know exactly why I'm trying to do that. But if you don't get the newsletter, then that's basically all I'm trying to do. Is I'm trying to create a feeling of isolation for the boat. And this is part of a series of images that I'm working on. That's typical, isn't it? Just as the light was starting to even out, some people turned up and you can't do this technique when there are people there, because you're taking multiple shots and they're going to appear in various frames, so it makes it impossible to stitch the images together if there's anything moving. So I think I'll call it a day, and I might try again tomorrow. I'm staying overnight tonight in Fort William, so I might try again first thing in the morning when presumably it'll be quieter. So that's us for Bokeh Panorama at the Corpach shipwreck. Hopefully it's worked, and hopefully post-processing me has already explained the process. So if any of the images have worked, I'll pop them on the screen just now. If you like this video, then give us a little thumbs up, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, bye.